Tyson was a beast. He could take a punch, and he could deliver one too. He was able to get in close and land devastating uppercuts. Once he earned a record for knocking out great fighters, his reputation alone was enough to discourage others from coming close. Tyson ended most of his fights within 3 rounds. Every time Iron Mike stepped into the ring, all he saw in the eyes of his opponents was fear. Was there ever a time when Tyson met his equal in the ring? How did such a fight go? Stay tuned and keep on watching to find out. Whenever the name of the legendary boxer, Mike Tyson, comes to mind, everyone always has an idea of whom his toughest opponent was in his prime. But the best person to answer this question is none other than Iron Mike himself. During an interview, Tyson revealed that his greatest challenge in the ring was not Evander Holyfield or Lennox Lewis. It was Pinklon Thomas. According to Tyson, he never for once acknowledged Thomas until a few years back when he rewatched their matchup. One of Tyson's friends had advised him to check out the fight again. Tyson had hit Thomas with 17 punches on the face before he lost the fight. Every single punch from Tyson was a powerhouse, and for Thomas to have endured 17 of it, he deserves some accolades. Thomas is another member of that 1980s club of heavyweights who were mauled by prime Tyson and were never heard from again. During the mid-80s, Thomas was a world-class heavyweight and for a short time possessed the best jab in the division. He was regarded as a big, strong, and athletic boxer who most definitely knew his way around a boxing ring. In 1984, during his finest hour, he was good enough to become an Alphabet World Champion, as he outpointed WBC champion terrible Tim Witherspoon. Thomas's reign at the top was short-lived, as he himself was subsequently outpointed by Trevor Berbick in just his second defense in early 1986. Unfortunately, however, just like Marvis Frazier, Trevor Berbick, Tyrell Biggs, Tony Tubbs, and Michael Spinks, Pinklon Thomas ran into the wrong guy at the wrong time in the wrong place and was never the same fighter again. A once world-class heavyweight was demoted to journeyman class after one terrible beating. Such is the brutal nature of this toughest of sports. Unfortunately for Thomas, as the decades have rolled by, he is most remembered for the way he lost to Tyson rather than the way he won. He suffers the eternal ignominy of being the recipient of possibly the most brutal salvo of finishing punches ever seen in the heavyweight arena. The showdown between Thomas and Tyson took place in 1987. The pair were competing for the WBA and WBC World Heavyweight title, which at that time was held by Tyson. Tyson had the upper hand during a larger period of the fight against Thomas. Although he seemed to be at his best, he couldn't land a win until the 6th round via a technical knockout. The official time was 2:00. Tyson had come into the bout with the intention of securing a quick stoppage like he had always done. However, the fight took a different dimension. The fight started with Tyson delivering a left hook. Tyson followed it up with a combination to the head and more left hooks. Few minutes before the bell, Thomas drops a right but receives an uppercut close to his corner. Round 2 took a different route, with Thomas coming out with his jabs and landing body shots. In the closing seconds, Thomas catches Tyson with a long right. In round 3, Thomas's jabs seemed to be doing the magic, causing Tyson to miss in spots. The round ends with the duo showcasing some grappling moves. The exchanges continue into the next 2 rounds, with Tyson finishing off Thomas in the 6th round. The loss to Tyson was the beginning of the end for Thomas, as he would never feature in any title bout after that. Thomas lost 4 of his next 5 fights to Evander Holyfield, Riddick Bowe, and Tommy Morrison. Another fight that Tyson would never forget in a hurry is the clash against Evander Holyfield. Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield fought twice. The first fight took place on November 9, 1996, and the second on June 28, 1997. Both fights were considered highly notable events in the sport of boxing. Holyfield never feared Tyson at any point. This was one psychological advantage that Holyfield had over all of Prime. Tyson's opponents. He possessed a genuine no-fear mentality. Holyfield, for that matter, didn't fear any opponent. amateur or pro. The main reason that Holyfield didn't specifically fear Tyson was that he knew Tyson from a young age, and they had sparred as amateurs long before Tyson's aura of invincibility materialized. Holyfield held his own against Tyson in a fierce and short-lived sparring session at the 1984 Olympic trials. This notorious sparring session had to be broken up prematurely because the exchanges had become way too ferocious for a routine session. At that time, Holyfield was older and more physically mature than a teenage Tyson, so he retained a psychological edge into the pros. The first meeting between the two giants held at the MGM Grand, and most persons expected another knockout from Tyson. At the sound of the bell, Tyson landed a right hand that visibly shook Holyfield. Surprisingly, Holyfield did not cave in. He responded with his own left hooks and right hand. Round 2 turned out to be another epic show. As Holyfield got Tyson against the ropes and landed more shots, Tyson was thrown aback because Holyfield didn't seem like he was going to follow his pattern. The fight could only be compared to that of Ali versus Frazier because of the action. It was evidently a one-sided beatdown. The only round that Tyson won was the 5th, when he delivered some blows. But Evander was born ready, and he continued to push Tyson with his clinches. In the 6th round, Tyson got injured and was knocked down by Evander. The fans watched as Tyson's popular confidence dissipated and everyone saw him being vulnerable. By the time the fight got to round 10, Tyson was already weak. Holyfield took advantage of his opponent's state to inflict more damage. Evander once again sent Tyson to the ropes and landed 8 more punches before the end of the round. The fight was called off in the 11th round, when Tyson was seen defenseless on the ropes. Unlike most persons whose image often suffer a hit after a major loss, Tyson remained strong. The pair met for a rematch 8 months later. Tyson knew he had to win to retain his fearsome aura. Iron Mike faced a lot of pressures from everywhere. Immediately their second fight started, it was easy to tell that history would repeat itself again. Holyfield's use of his head got on Tyson's nerves. Iron Mike mentioned it after their first fight. When it was time for the 3rd round, Tyson stepped out without his gum shield and was sent back to his corner by referee Mills Lane. After a brief exchange, Holyfield announced that Tyson had bitten his right ear. The fight was then delayed for a bit while Lane thought of his next move. The referee later gave the go-ahead for the fight to continue. Few minutes later, Tyson went on to bite off Holyfield's left ear. The whole world was in shock and Holyfield had to be protected by security personnel. Tyson later asserted that his actions were because of Holyfield butting him continuously. Outside the ring, angry fans threw water bottles at him till he got to his dressing room. Tyson's boxing license was subsequently revoked by the Nevada State Athletic Commission, and he was fined $3 million. Tyson made a comeback a year later, pulling off low-key wins until he lost to Lennox Lewis in Memphis in June 2002. Meanwhile, Holyfield lost his titles to Lewis but went on to win other titles. His last fight took place when he was 48. Holyfield was stopped by Brian Nielsen in Denmark. The prolonged feud between Tyson and Holyfield was settled years later. The duo made an appearance on The Oprah Winfrey Show in 2009, and Holyfield claimed that he had forgiven Tyson. There has simply been none like Mike Tyson in boxing history. Even in retirement, he still remains the baddest man on the planet. His fights were epic and entertaining. Although his notorious feud with Holyfield messed up the boxing profession for years, and Tyson is loved by all. What do you love most about Mike Tyson? Which other fighter do you think was a formidable challenge for him? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.